Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. This is going to be a special edition of the Next Up podcast, and it was actually a fireside chat that I recorded with the amazing Laura Hatch and GENYOUth's National Youth Council during the Action for Healthy Kids HMI Virtual Summit. Now, these kids are absolutely fantastic. They're some of the sharpest kids I've had a chance to have a conversation with, and they are all about providing you the insight you need to continue to improve your school meal programs. And like they always say, if it's about them, don't do it without them. So make sure you check out this episode and learn what they have to say. I know you're going to enjoy it. All right, so it is fireside chat time, and we have the GENYOUth Advisory Council in the house, and the infamous Laura Hatch. Laura, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. So I say we get started by getting some intros from our students.
Sounds perfect.
My name's Riley. I live in Florida, and I'm 17.
My name's Rohit. I live in New Jersey, and I'm 16 years old.
My name is Rosalind. I'm from North Carolina, and I'm 16 years old.
Laura?
I'm Laura Hatch. I'm the youth engagement lead for GENYOUth.
And you're 35, you said?
Yeah, sure, yes.
All right, so let's start with this. What is GENYOUth, and why do you have a bunch of students on your advisory board?
Yeah, great question. So GENYOUth was founded by America's Dairy Farmers and the National Football League. So two really amazing partners came together to make sure that children are well-nourished and live physically active lives. And we do that by partnering with schools and providing them the resources they need to have physical activity. We do a lot of NFL flag in school, and then also to provide equipment to ensure that kids have access to school meals. And we do all of this really amazing work in partnership with students. Students are the ultimate customer of these programs, and we want to make sure their perspectives, their insights, and their opinions are at the table. So we have this amazing National Youth Council that we work with, and I could talk all day about it, but I'll let them maybe tell us a little bit about the National Youth Council. Is that okay?
Yeah, well, my first question is, how do you guys get selected to be on the council?
Yeah, so we are nominated by a current member of the Youth Council, or we're recommended for nomination. And then once we're recommended, we apply. And the application process is you send a video in, and then you get interviewed, and then hopefully you get accepted. And luckily for us, we did. So
sounds like you're applying for a job.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it felt like. I've never applied to a job before, but so this is kind of my first run. But one thing we love to say is, if it's about us, don't do it without us. And that's kind of what drives all this.
I love that. If it's about us, don't do it without us. That's pretty cool.
That's our slogan.
That works. So do you guys think there is a stigma with school meals as far as eating school meals versus bringing a lunch from home or breakfast?
I do want to say, I think it's all about the demographic of students that we're talking about. So I've been a part of two big demographics. I used to live in Jersey City. Up north, it's more urban. Now I live in the suburbs. So the demographic is a lot more high income. And I think when you live in a poor environment, the stigma revolves more around, how much money can you spend on something? And when you think of how much money you can spend while living in subsidized communities, bringing lunch from home is usually the better option. And now that I've moved to the suburbs, it's like eating at home or eating lunch at school. It's kind of the same thing in terms of the quality of the food. It's not really something that students have to think about in the suburbs, but living in Jersey City, you could really see that contrast between bringing lunch from home and eating at school.
So if you were to bring lunch from home, what would you typically bring? Any one of you?
I can answer that. So typically for me, I would usually either bring a salad, a sandwich, fruit, some sort of nut, and water, typically. But that's for me personally.
You eat healthy. All right, Riley, what about you?
Thank you.
Yeah, I like sandwiches. I eat a sandwich every day at lunch at school. I don't really get the school lunch a whole lot.
Why not?
Well, I'm lucky enough to have parents who make me lunch, so I'm not really going to turn that down. You know what I mean?
Okay. I wonder if your parents are interested in the fact that school meals are typically healthier than what you would eat at home, and a lot of times more affordable.
Well, they're definitely more affordable. In my school, they're free for everyone. So
I just want to point out for the stigma piece that free school meals for all definitely reduces stigma. So in addition to working with our youth council, Gen Youth also conducts research, nationwide research with a nationally representative sample of students ages 13 to 18. And we found that in states that had statewide policies that had free school meals for all, just like Riley's school, the stigma was drastically reduced by students. And so those policies are really important and they're working.
So some of you guys bring lunch from home, right? If you could have anything on your school menus, what would it be? And like, what would it take to get you guys to eat school meals every single day?
I was waiting for you to ask that.
Well, let me have it.
So I love bowls. I mean, I think bowls are the greatest thing ever. They have your protein, your carbs, your nutrients, they have everything. And it's all in one container. And I would love to see bowls in schools. And part of the reason for that is because in my school, in the lunch line, there's sections. So one section, there's fruits or vegetables. And then another section, there's the main entree. And a lot of times the entree will only have carbs and like a little bit of protein. And what kids will do is they have to take the fruits or the vegetables, but they'll take that and then they'll only eat the entree. So they're not really getting all of that nutrients. And that's part of the reason I think bowls are so important, because bowls have everything in it. You can't skip out. You have to eat all of it because it's all in one system.
So you keep talking about protein and nutrients. Is that something that's important to you? Are you an athlete or something?
For sure, yes. I wrestle and I lift, and protein is my number one priority.
Oh, man, you're a bad dude then, huh? Okay, Rohit, what about you?
All right, so my school, in terms of including all parts of the food plate or what you're supposed to be eating, I think it hits all the margins, everything equally, because in my school there's a lot of variety in terms of what you can choose to eat. There's 4 lines. There's a deli line, there's a pizza line, there's the main lunch, and then there's a grill line. Were you going to say something? Oh, sorry. Yeah, so these lines, especially the deli line, have a lot of customizability. And as for the other 3 lines, there's a lot of it changes every day what's in each line. So that it helps the students not get bored with what they're eating, but it also makes sure that they're not missing out on important nutrients too often. So I think that's what my school does a good job at doing.
Is there a particular menu item you want to see on your school menu?
A menu item. So there are a couple times my school has tried to integrate new menu items that tap into different cultures, because where I live is there's a lot of diversity in my school. So a good example I was thinking about was just last week they put sushi on the menu, and a couple weeks before that there's a burrito that they don't normally have on the menu. So, and we have a pretty decent Hispanic population at the school. So they like to tap into these different cultures and stuff of all the different students that attend the school. So in terms of adding something to the menu, they tried adding a chicken tikka entree. And a way they tried to incorporate that was by having a taste test thing that they did, where they had a bunch of students try it. I don't think it ended up making the menu, and I don't blame them, because that's a food that's really hard to palate for the general population. So the chances of it reaching a school menu are unlikely, but it's the effort that matters.
So I have to say this. I actually did we did a video production to product shots with a company, and they made a chicken tikka masala cold wrap, and it tasted like something I got out of a restaurant. It was absolutely delicious. So I'm sure there's a way to do it. It's just a matter of educating the staff on how to prepare it the right way.
Yeah, and really tapping into that student feedback. So they didn't get it quite right this time, but keep trying and working with students to get it right. I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. All right, Rosalind, what's your dish to die for?
Well, my school is very similar to Rohit's. So it's very customizable. They pretty much hit everything, everything you're supposed to be eating. There are different lines. So there's a pizza line, there's a grill line, there's a deli line, salad bar, and then the main entree line. And it varies every single day. Every single day, it's completely different. It's completely new. So honestly, and the kids enjoy it. The students love the customizability and the variety that we get every single day. So if I could add something onto the menu, honestly, I would say make it more culturally diverse, because as of right now, our menu options, they are diverse, but within like the average American like kind of food style, I would say.
I'm still waiting for the one menu item.
Okay, well, you let me ramble on there. Honestly, the one menu item.
Did you have something that from your family that you loved that you wanted to see on the menu?
Yes, actually. Well, now that it's getting colder, I would love to see some soups. Specifically, there's this soup in my culture that's called caldo de pollo, and it's pretty much just chicken soup, but it's a specific kind of chicken soup, and there's this very specific way on how you make it. And so I would love to see that, or just different kinds of soups in general.
So how would you feel about your school district reaching out and collaborating with your family and maybe doing an ideation session and an educational session on how to actually make the meals the way they should be made?
Well, I've actually tried to look into this, actually, and it's pretty difficult. They're not very open to working with others or like open to changing what they currently have, their current system. But I would love to continue trying and working with students and my family to implement such things.
So, Laura, do you know why that is? Like, is it just like a time thing in schools, or like why is it so difficult for operators to connect with families?
Well, time is certainly an issue. School meals have to follow really stringent guidelines, of course. I do find that there is more student engagement and family engagement happening. Our survey found that only 17% of students had some sort of input or engagement into the menu. However, working with the Healthy Meals Incentives Project, I know that there are school districts really doing this work. It may not be formal. It may be the school nutrition folks going out and talking to students and kind of getting their insights. But I do see more momentum around this. But I do think time is an issue, and just making sure that they can fit the dishes into the regulations and into the calorie counts and all of the different sodium restrictions that they have to follow.
Very well said. So you guys all mentioned that your schools have multiple lines, right? Do you feel you have enough time to eat lunch and decide what you want to eat for lunch?
All right. So in my school, at least, they give us 30 minutes. So my school in general is really densely populated. They're thinking about building another high school, actually. But because both of the grades are made to sit in different cafeterias, they split it into 9th, 10th in one cafeteria, and then 11th, 12th in another cafeteria. And then on top of that, they divide into 3 different lunch blocks that are 30 minutes each. So students only have 30 minutes to eat, and then they have to rush to whatever third block class they have, because my school splits their classes into 3 blocks or 4 blocks, not including lunch.
Riley, Roslyn, do you have enough time?
Yeah, so my school gives us 25 minutes to eat lunch, and that doesn't feel like that much time to really like sit down and enjoy a meal. We have 2 different lunch sections, A and B, and then we have 2 cafeterias and an outside seating area. And there are a lot of kids in each lunch, and a lot of times there will be lines for the school lunch out the door. And it takes about 15 minutes for the line to start to settle down. And I've seen kids who wait that long just to get their lunch, and then they barely have enough time to eat the whole thing.
So do you feel like if you had 60 minutes for lunch, you'd probably be more likely to eat lunch at school?
Yeah, 100%. If they had enough food to actually last that whole 60 minutes.
Okay. Roslyn?
Yeah, so I get an hour to eat, but every single student is crammed into the same lunch period, and there are about 700 students in my school, so we all eat lunch at the exact same time. But we do have an okay amount of time, I would say. But since there's so many students, it takes such a long time for the lines to move and for everybody to get their food. So typically, during lunchtime, I always have to wait at least 30 minutes just to get my food. And then since my cafeteria is so small and there's 700 students, there isn't anywhere to sit. So most students either stand up and eat or have to go to a completely different area to eat, or they sit on the ground.
So just out of curiosity, do any of your schools offer pre-ordering or, mobile carts in different areas of the school, like hallways, outside, that serve meals too?
At my school, no, but I would love to see that implemented.
Cool.
I think my school's really behind on kind of the lunch innovation process in terms of making it more accessible at different times of the day. Like, we just started a breakfast program at my school, which other schools seem to have it already for like a long time. So the fact that they're just starting to implement this stuff, I don't want to say it's concerning, but it's kind of like, what are we doing with our money? If all these other schools can pull it off, what are we doing?
So do you have to go to the lunchroom or the cafeteria to get breakfast?
Yeah, you do. There's no like grab and go cart or anything like that. The only instance that I remember they didn't have it where you went into the cafeteria to get breakfast was the one day we had PSAT testing. Since it was school wide, they set up like a stall in one of the hallways, and they're like, if you want to eat, get your lunch here, and then go into the main gym. We'll give you 30 minutes. And then after that, you have to go and take the PSAT. But that's the only time I can remember they tried something different.
Do you guys all eat breakfast at home or at school?
I have really nice parents, and they make me breakfast every day.
Do you feel like you would perform as well on the wrestling mat or academically if you didn't eat breakfast?
I know I wouldn't, because there are some days when I've had to skip breakfast for whatever reason, and I don't perform as well. It's like when I'm wrestling, it's like I run out of energy way faster. And I think it takes, building up those nutrients and carbs and stuff throughout the day.
Yeah, I agree. What about you guys?
I mean, it's just science. The facts show that if you eat breakfast is the most important meal of the day. If you miss out on breakfast, not only will you be hungry all morning, you burn a lot of calories thinking at school. But if you do something after school, whether that's sports or clubs, you're not going to be as engaged in whatever you're doing because you haven't built up those nutrients over time as you're supposed to when you eat food throughout the day.
That's like a mic drop moment right there. Jeez. What about you, Rosalind?
Now, I'm not an athlete, but I typically eat breakfast during the school week. So I typically eat breakfast 3 out of 5 days, this business school week. Sorry. But I will say that on the days that I don't eat breakfast, I do feel less concentrated. I feel a little bit more angsty. And so, yeah.
So, go ahead.
I was going to say, our data shows that about 57% of students skip breakfast at least once a week, which you don't make those nutrients up later in the day. We all know that. So these guys know it.
They do. I was going to say I skipped breakfast yesterday and I was hangry all day long. My team will tell you it was a miserable day for me. So speaking about to go back to the amount of time students have to eat, does GenYouth have any stats around that?
Yes. So our survey found that if students, there's kind of a cutoff point in terms of satisfaction for lunch periods. If students have 20 minutes, we're going to call it seat time to eat after you've gotten the meal, that felt like an area where students were more satisfied versus having less than 20 minutes. And we also know that students are not just eating during that period. They've got school meetings. They want to socialize with their friends. That's kind of their break in the day. So allowing more time really does boost that satisfaction.
So students, what type of cafeteria experience do you guys look for? Are you okay with the same 1960s, 70s cafeteria vibe, or do you want something that's more like collegiate inspired, restaurant inspired? What is going to be inviting enough for you guys to actually want to go to that space to hopefully have a school meal?
My dream would be more time and customizability. So I have this idea. If there was some kind of bowl bar where you could pick your own base, pick your own protein, your own nutrients, all that. And then you actually had time to really enjoy that, because it would be a very careful process. I feel like making your own lunch and putting what you want in it. And so having enough time to just choose what you want to eat in a dream world would make my lunch.
So you keep talking about this bowl bar. What are you putting in your bowl? I forgot to ask you.
I'm putting rice, chicken, and lettuce.
Okay, so chicken over beef?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes I'll go for beef, but chicken's my go-to.
Okay. Would you want to serve yourself or be served? Like, do you actually want to scoop? Or have someone
I'm
scoop for
open to
you?
either.
Yeah?
I mean, I could scoop for myself or watch someone make it like Chipotle.
Okay, but as far as the experience, though, like, do you have a preference?
Yeah, so for my experience, it would probably be nicer to have someone do it for you. And that way it would be way more streamlined because then there could be kids in line, they could go down the line like you see at restaurants that serve bowls. Yeah.
Would you ever want to pre-order your bowl like at Chipotle?
Ooh.
And just go there and pick it up?
Yes, that would be amazing.
Okay. So what type of experience are you looking for whenever you go to your cafeteria?
Okay, so the number one thing, because of the densely populated school that I'm in, has to be less people eating in the same space. I think Roslyn deals with the same issue because 700 kids eating lunch at the same time is chaos. That's a disaster waiting to happen. It's when it comes to like cleaning up in between lunches, in my case, because right after one lunch is the start of another lunch where a whole new wave of students come in and they have to eat their food. And we have 30 minutes to eat because you have to wait in line for like 10 minutes, depending on how many kids want that lunch. That's why usually I'll opt for the deli a lot because it seems to be less populated, that line, which is a problem because the deli is also the healthiest option when it comes to what you get at school to eat. But yeah, if there was one thing I could change, it would definitely be how crowded the lunchroom was, because that kind of impedes on the whole eating experience.
So just out of curiosity, do you have any ideas on how to reduce how many kids are in the lunchroom at the same time?
Okay, so let's do some math here.
We're about to get serious.
There's about 750 kids in my class. So 4 classes, I'll just say there's about 700, 600. I'll go like 3,000 kids in the school. And there's a total of 3 lunches in the day, 2 cafeterias. So
I can't follow that math.
Yeah, he lost me already.
So that'll be like 500 kids eating lunch at the same time. That's just, in my opinion, that's too many, especially since one cafeteria is bigger than the other one. They were equally sized. Maybe it would be more fair. But I think building a new high school, which is what my township plans on doing, or maybe building another cafeteria, might solve the problem. Because that's just, I feel like the distribution would be a lot more even after that.
Yeah, I mean, you could go with grab-and-go carts all over the place. You could do pre-ordering, change up the amount of time that there is to eat lunch, which is probably the most difficult one, unfortunately. But yeah, there's a solution out there. One day we're going to find it. Yeah. So Rosalind, what is your dream cafeteria space like?
So for me, I would say I would love to have a bigger cafeteria for sure. Now, time-wise, I have a pretty good amount of time to eat, and customizability-wise and like what I eat is pretty awesome too. But one thing that I would change is the different time slots for students to eat. So as of right now, we all eat lunch like at around 11:50 until like 12:50, but I would prefer that to be changed, like have one lunch start at 11:25 and then another lunch start at 12 and then like things like that. Because as of right now, when I eat, I just feel so stressed out because there's nowhere to sit, there's nowhere to go necessarily, and there isn't really anywhere else to eat besides the cafeteria, and so it's just so chaotic. It is so unbelievably chaotic, and the lines are so long. They go around like the cafeteria like twice since there's 700 students. So I would love for my cafeteria to be bigger and maybe have different time slots for a specific amount of students to eat.
I would say GENYOUth also found this in our survey, that the food is really important and the dining experience is equally as important in terms of time to eat, the chaotic nature, what time in the day you have to eat. Some students are eating at 10:15 a.m. They're eating lunch. So all of those factors really play into their satisfaction of school meals. It's a lot of different things that go into what students' opinions are and what their perspectives are with school meals.
What time do you guys eat lunch in school?
I eat at 11:02.
Same time as you?
Well, it depends on which lunch you're assigned. The first lunch is at 10:26, which is really early. I mean, I eat breakfast at home a lot of the time. So when I have an A lunch, it's like, it feels like I'm eating at the wrong time. And it feels like I should be eating the amount I'm eating, but if it was a little delayed, I think I'd like it a little more. But the other times it goes up to, I think, 12:30 is when the final lunch ends. So a lot of these kids are eating their lunch before noon.
What about you, Rosalind? What time do you eat?
11:50 to 12:50.
I wish I saw more schools implementing almost like a brunch option, because I feel like, because I went to a school yesterday and lunch was at 10:30, I think it was. So early.
Riley, your school has a second chance breakfast. Is that right?
Yeah, so we have breakfast up until the bell, and then after that we have grab and go carts all around the school between first and second period, which I think works really well, because if kids don't get to eat breakfast, then they get to eat at like 9.
And it's free for all.
And it's free for all. And it's super easy to grab. You just walk up, grab it, and keep walking to your class.
That's a beautiful thing. So would you guys say that you eat pretty similarly at home versus at school, like the types of food?
I do, because everything I eat at school is from home. So, but sometimes I will grab the occasional granola bar from that grab and go cart. But other than that, it's the same.
Okay.
You do have a favorite school meal that you like that mirrors your bowl. So tell us about that.
That's true. So my favorite dish at school is the orange chicken and rice. And inside the rice, it has like peas and carrots that are cut up. And that's one great example, I think, of everything in one place. And that way kids are getting all their nutrients in one dish.
It's funny you mentioned that, because my daughter, like, if there's the orange chicken on the menu, that is exactly the day she's going to be eating lunch at school.
Everyone likes it.
Yeah, it's great. So do you guys have any, do you see of any misconceptions of school meals out there? Because you guys know what it's really like, but do you hear people say the opposite? And if so, what are they saying about it?
Yeah, so in my school, some kids will refrain from eating lunch at all, because not only do they don't bring lunch from home, but they have like this need to say and justify that the school lunch is unhygienic, or it doesn't taste great, or like the milk's spoiled. But obviously it's not true, and the school takes precautions to avoid that from happening. I've heard rumors back when I was in the middle school about the high school lunch being like this grotesque thing that kids would be forced to eat. But it's not all that terrible. I think my school does a really good job keeping up with the dietary standards and the cleanliness of the cafeteria and kitchen space.
Yeah. What about you, Rosalind? Any misconceptions out there?
Well, actually, isn't there a statistic that was by GENYOUth about how school meals are typically the healthiest?
They are.
Yes. So in my personal opinion, I agree with that. School meals hit all the boxes when it comes to protein, carbs, grains, fruits. But in my personal opinion, or in my experience, I would say school meals are one of the most processed meals, in my opinion. So actually, there's this thing called campus service at my school where students can do like volunteer service but work within the school. And my campus service is working in the cafeteria. So I get to see all the behind the scenes and the inner workings of school lunch at my school, and every single thing is processed. Not a single thing is fresh. And so that's something that I wanted to point out, because there is a very big misconception about school meals. Well, I wouldn't say that it's always this way, everything being extremely and heavily processed, but in my experience, that's what I've seen.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that. All right, Riley.
Yeah, so can you remind me what the question was?
Can somebody remind me of what the question was? Have you seen any misconceptions of school meals out there?
Okay, so I actually agree a lot with what Rosalind said. We get these spicy chicken sandwiches and burgers, and they just aren't that appetizing. And I think it does check all the boxes, right? It has all the macros and stuff, but the way it's presented and how fresh it feels, just I don't think it's good enough.
So, Laura, how do you feel about scratch cooking in schools?
Well, working with the Healthy Meals Incentives initiative, I know that many schools are implementing more scratch cooked items, and at least speed scratch, right? So they are preparing it freshly on site. Not everything is completely scratched like my grandmother did, but it's a process, right? So it takes labor, it takes training, and students have to like it. So what many schools are finding is they'll put a lot of love and time into creating a scratch cooked meal, and the students are like, I like the burger better. So really, it's an evolution, I think, of working with students, making sure that you're working together as a partner. What do you want to see? So that constant stream of communication, and then implementing that scratch cooking. But it is happening in so many districts across the country, and there's a lot of local produce. There's farm to school. I think one of the harder things is maybe they aren't telling you that it's scratch cooked, or maybe they aren't telling you that it's from the farm down the road. So you're assuming, if you're seeing it all processed before, that it's still that processed piece. So that marketing piece is really important.
So, talking about farm to school, do any of your schools have a farm to school program?
Mine doesn't.
Mine does not.
Not aware of one if my school does do it.
Do you wish they had one? Like, would that be important to you?
Yes, it would.
It would, because I think it also brings the community together when they do something like that. My old school in Jersey City, when I went to elementary school, I think they had a garden or something of the sort, and that helped kind of bring everyone together. You know, like, because a lot of what was grown in the garden, especially the tomatoes, would be used in the food that they would serve.
And for me, I would love to see one, but at the moment there isn't.
Do you think you guys would eat more fresh produce if you were part of the preparation, like actually planting the seed and watching the tomato grow and the lettuce and all that?
Yes, absolutely. I would love it. I love gardening. My family loves gardening, and so I would love to be a part of that, and I would be more inclined to eat school meals if that was the case.
Okay. Do either of you eat vegetarian options? Is that important to you? I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. I don't even think I have to say it, but I like the protein.
Yeah, although I wouldn't opt for the vegetarian option, I think it's important for the school to have one. And it's the same thing goes for halal and kosher, and just making the dining experience inclusive, not leaving anyone out from having access to healthy, nutritious foods that they can have consistently every day.
So there is a vegetarian line at my school and vegan line. And a lot of students actually opt for that. But me personally, I do not opt for it. I love my protein.
So speaking on inclusivity, does your cafeteria staff include you guys in any sort of like feedback or surveys or anything like that?
So mine actually doesn't, and that's something I would like to see change. I would love to see the occasional Google form come out, giving options for us to pick something, or just some kind of feedback on the process that goes on.
The one time I remember my school having like they had a feedback type of thing with the students was during the chicken tikka thing I was talking about earlier, when I think they did it through a Google form where they had the students rate how much they liked the sample on like some type of scale. But a time other than that, I think where they try and involve students is with our student council. They'll have the people who are elected, because there's different positions. They attend the board meetings, the school board meetings, I think occasionally. We also have student representatives that just go if they're nominated to go. So I'm sure they give some type of input there if that's something they think is important.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
So at my school, there isn't a way to give feedback, but I would love to see it because I know there would be a lot of feedback coming in.
I feel like if anyone takes away anything from this wonderful session, it is the student engagement piece. So we know from listening to our students that they want to be involved in school meals. They have opinions, they have perspectives. And then our survey found that only 17% of students are able to be engaged. But those 17% of students, their satisfaction goes way up on all areas of school meals. So taste, satisfaction, how healthy they think it is. Are they happy with their school meals? Do they think it's a positive environment? Across the board, the students that have a say in their school meals are much happier, and they're happy customers. So it's a really important piece.
If it's about us, don't do it without us.
I love it. Do you guys know of any like student influencers, or has Gen Youth actually seen student influencers in school that are there to promote school meals? So do you guys do that actively, like on social media?
Gen Youth is super like active on social media when it comes to promoting what their youth council does in other schools.
What about within your schools? Like, are you guys actually promoting your school lunches or breakfasts?
Yeah, and in all of our schools, every member of the youth council is working on their little project that they're trying to implement, whether that's through an athletics lens or a nutrition lens. They're trying to change the overall health of students at their school. I'll use mine for example. So I'm trying to establish a flag football club in the middle school because our high school has a pretty new but flourishing girls flag football team. So I've talked to my football coaches about this, about starting at least as a club flag football, so that girls, especially because there is a disparity between how physically active boys and girls are, especially in physical education classes. So to cover this disparity or to mitigate it, this flag football club that I'm establishing at the middle school will help promote the sport at the high school, so girls will be more interested in playing it at the next level, because there's also a drop-off rate disparity. So like boys on average will continue to play sports up until 18, while a lot of girls end up dropping it off at like 13 or when high school originally starts. And yeah, I think, so this is my project, but other people's projects focus more on the nutrition school lunch part of things. Like I think one of my peers is trying to do like a whole menu, kind of not a replacement, but they're trying to change the menu in a way that'll make it more nutritious or like spread awareness of what's in the food that they're eating. So we're doing all kinds of stuff in our schools to uphold nutritional standards with the school lunch.
That's so awesome, man. Good for you. That's great.
Yeah, each student has a project that they implement in their schools. And again, it ranges from PE to physical activity, nutrition. So one of our students is implementing a grab-and-go cart at his high school and working with his school nutrition director to help market breakfast, why breakfast is the most important part of the day, and what options are available. So it really varies. We want it to be their project, but it definitely, these are our influencers right here. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, super cool. All right, so in closing, let's dream. Let's all dream together. So in 20 years, what would you like to see school meal programs look like?
I would like to see customizability, and I would like to see time to eat and enjoy food, and total transparency about what's in food, and feedback. School is constantly, listening to their students and improving.
I think at the root of all the issues we have to deal with regarding school nutrition, it has to be how nutrition at school is downplayed in comparison to education or athletics. They think as long as we hold up one part of the school experience, we don't have to worry as much about the nutrition part. And I think if we can find a way around that type of thinking and being more holistic when we try and hold up parts of the school experience, whether that's nutrition, academics, sports, whatever, if we can make everything more like combined and whole, then all of these issues we have with, not enough space in the cafeteria, not enough options when you eat school lunch, they'll just disappear because everything is going to matter equally in terms of, we're not going to rank things on importance, and we're going to treat everything the same way.
And they all feed into each other. I mean, better fed students are going to perform better in school and athletics. It's all kind of like a feedback loop.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for me, I would love to see more cultural diversity, because at the moment I'm in a very culturally diverse school. So I would love to see more foods like halal, kosher, and also just generally culturally for. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, but more culturally diverse foods.
Do I get to go?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't want to wait 20 years, but I'd love to see free school meals for every student regardless of income. I'd love to see school nutrition departments elevated as a really critical part of our education system. I'd love to see them well-funded, well-staffed, with the ability to do what they do best, and that is cook and nourish kids in a way that isn't rushed and isn't crowded and gives them the ability to work with their farmers and to try new scratch cooking ideas and work with students. And I would love to see that school cafeteria being really seen as a valuable part of the education system.
I would love to see the whole lunch lady stigma go away, because these are school nutrition professionals. Like a lot of them are extremely educated, way more than me, and their jobs are not easy. And I do feel like the meals need to be on the house. I mean, if you're getting books for free, how come school meals aren't for free? Because you need the meals to use the books. So it kind of seems like it makes sense to me. And I would also like to see more technology included into school meal programs, whether it's things like mobile ordering or even just more efficiencies. Like we see a lot of things happening in like the retail restaurant world that could easily be applied to school meals and probably done better. So that's kind of what I would love to see in the next 5 years. Well, you guys are absolutely amazing. I am seriously impressed. Like I heard tons of great things about you kids, and you guys exceeded all expectations. I love what you guys are doing, and then taking the time out of your day to support an organization like Gen Youth to create better opportunities and share ideas for kids across the country is really, really commendable. So thank you so much for what you guys do. Thank you for being here. And Laura, thank you for getting them here and everything that you do.
Thank you so much. This has been a real delight.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.